Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom review. See by the title below, yes, this is on episode 6 of DanMachi Gaiden Sword Oratoria. And overall, this episode, it definitely had a different feel, I gotta say, than the past two episodes. And before you start going on like, oh no, he didn't like this episode, he thought the past two episodes were awesome, but this one, you know, it has a different feel, so he didn't care for it. No, that is not it at all. It had a different feel to it in the way that it didn't really focus on the main, plot, the main plot story that we've been seeing in these past few episodes, except for like two parts in this episode, which were the part where the level 6s of the Loki Familia and Loki were discussing, and then of course the very end where we see that hooded figure. Those were the only times that we really went in on the story. But the whole big reason that I actually really enjoyed this episode, one of them at least, was the fact that, one of the reasons why I wanted to watch the show in the first place was, well, one of them was, of course, because it was DanMachi, but the other reason was because I thought it would be pretty interesting to see all the events that happen from Bell's point of view in DanMachi, but instead see him from Aiza's point of view. I thought it would be interesting. I liked Aiza's character before, and I thought it would have been cool to see like how she felt during these certain moments, and we saw a couple of these moments throughout this, past few episodes, but not as much. Like this one did, in fact, actually had a bunch that we ended up seeing Belle a lot more than literally the rest of the season has been. And I actually really enjoyed that part, and especially considering the fact that another reason why I like these past episodes is that instead of focusing on Lefia, to which, I'm sorry for all you Lefia fans, but I really do not care for her character. Sure, episode 3 didn't, I didn't hate her as much after that. I was like, okay, she can fight, she's good, she's not as useless as before, she's not just a fangirl, But when you have an episode like this, where literally there's barely any moments with her and it just focuses on Aiz, it just makes the episode, in my opinion, a lot more enjoyable. I came to watch this show because I wanted to see everything from Aiz as the main character, and seeing also as well, before everyone used to think of Aiz as she's not doesn't really show that much emotions and everything, and that's kind of true in the very beginning of this the season. But this episode, we saw a different variety of like emotions from the very beginning all the way to the very end from her, and I actually really enjoyed that aspect. I really am enjoying the evolution that we are seeing of Aiz's character, her development that we're seeing from how she was in the first episode this season to how she is now, and maybe even more in the future. And it kind of shows too that you do see her acting differently in the original DanMachi season as well. How she acted in the first couple episodes, and then how she acted in the very last episodes as well, was actually a lot different. It's just this time we're able to see a lot more closely on why those reasons even happen, why she acts like that later on in the season. And I'm actually really enjoying that aspect, and it's not like this episode didn't have action either, because the very beginning part with her fighting that crazy floor boss, which that floor boss, they say, normally can wipe out huge raid groups and everything, like holy crap, she beat that thing by herself. I was full on kind of like, I didn't know, I thought Reveria was gonna have to step in at some point to help her, but no, she ends up beating the thing by herself, being able to, even when the thing ends up using a sword, to which normally it doesn't have one, to which that's another thing I'm not really too sure if that's like has a hidden meaning behind it or something. Like, for example, there's someone, the hooded figure and everything had something to do with making those events happen, and had an influence on making the thing have a different power than it normally had to test her abilities, maybe. Because at the very end, he says, pretty much definitely did surprise him. I'm not too sure if that's just because I was able to see him when he was invisible, or it was because of like the moments that have happened up to that point. So it may very well be that thing with having its sword and everything actually was events orchestrated by this group, and that may that may be something very important later on in the future. But overall, it was pretty cool to see her be able to defeat that monster. It was pretty cool action, seeing that like I was like, ooh, okay, we got some cool action straight up at the beginning. You know, I was excited to see how it was gonna be, considering, you know, the very ending of the last episode. I was like, holy shit, how is she gonna beat that by herself? Definitely proved me wrong when I thought that Reveria was going to have to step in there. And that's another thing with Reveria. I enjoyed her character as well in this episode. Like before, like in the last episode, I said she's kind of like the mom of their group and everything. And it was nice to see those interactions with her and, you know, Eyes, and telling her that, you know, Eyes has kind of been worrying about the whole thing with how the red-haired tamer called her by her mother's name, Arya. And of course, you know, you have her pretty much telling Eyes and making her feel more comfortable and more, you know, not as scared and worried, and say, you know, we're your family as well. Tiona, Lefia as well, I guess. You know, we all care about you. We're all here for you as well. And it definitely, you saw the different, like, she was definitely not like how she was at the beginning of the episode. And that's the first range of emotions that you see change within her. And also, come on, you cannot lie. When I saw that, you know, of course, because freaking Bell ends up rolling away again, seeing that part again literally cracked me up. But yeah, seeing that part where he finally gets his firebolt magic again, you see, not again, for the first time, and see him exhaust himself and knock out. And then before, we were wondering, how did that even happen, where he was, you know, ends up lying on her lap, you know, lap pillow on Eyes. Like, where did that even happen? How did that even happen? Why was she even there? Now we know. So it was cool to see that interaction and see her from her point of view, and her, that, oh my gosh, that pouting blush when he rolls away was just, it was just so adorable. I was like, oh my gosh, my heart cannot take it. I needed to pause the video and just walk away for a moment. Like, yeah, I couldn't take that. I could not take that at all. But, and then after that, you see Reveria. You never would have expected Reveria, her kind of character, how she's been throughout this. We've seen her throughout these episodes and everything. And to see her start laughing because she finds out that, you know, he ends up running away from Eyes, and Eyes starts like pushing her and pouting and hitting her and everything. It was really cute. It was like a mother-daughter kind of moment. And like, it's those kind of moments that make you like, oh man, that's definitely a different side of Eyes that you normally would not have seen if it was just the original DanMachi series, you know? That's why I like this, is because we get to see a different side of another of the main characters. Sure, everything is about Bell in the original series. It's his story. But obviously, you know, Eyes is one of those huge figures that are important to Belle, and it's cool to see that different point of view in all these kind of events, but from her side as well. Just like, of course, that one part at the very end where, of course, you know, Lily kind of makes him, sets a trap up for him kind of thing, and Eyes ends up coming to help him. And then, of course, we got to see that part with the hooded figure, to which, of course, we had no idea that even happened in the original DanMachi series, because Belle had already ran away. So it was pretty cool to see that those kind of events connecting in this as well. And of course, I forgot to mention that, you know, Eyes also got to hit level 6. We don't really get a mention of that happening in the original series as well. So it was pretty cool to see. And you see that she has different things on her mind, even though before this point and before everything that's happened, she just wanted to get stronger. And this is the kind of moment that she would be a lot happier at that moment. But she has all these other things clouding her head that it kind of just, it's definitely not the same feeling that you thought she would have had. And it's cool to see those moments. And plus, we got to see some fan service with her underboob. And don't even lie when you're not looking at, like, the amount of scenes that just shows Loki's butt. Like, it's like, okay, there's her butt. Yeah, thanks for that, I guess. But yeah, overall, it was just, in my opinion, a pretty awesome episode. I really enjoyed the interactions between her and Belle, seeing their events connect in all those ways. We got to see a bunch of different emotions from Eyes, and showing more development for her character, to which I have been wanting for quite a while. We got to see not much of Lefia, which I am sorry to say, like I keep saying, sorry for all you Lefia fans, but I was so happy that we did not have to see her as much, and we just focused on Eyes. And overall, because of those events, even though it didn't focus as much on the main plot, I still really enjoyed this episode and cannot wait to see what's going to happen in the next episodes. Now that the fact that it is going to be diving more into whatever these, you know, whoever these guys are, this hooded figure is, and everything that says pretty much he has a quest for her. So we're not too sure what the hell this quest is and why he wants her to do it, but it's obviously something very important to the story, and I honestly cannot wait to see. that it's probably going to have some type of connection with her and her mother and her father. So that should be pretty interesting. But yeah, that's all I really got to say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy, don't forget to like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And as always, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this episode. Anime watchers only, did you feel the same way that I did about this episode? Did you enjoy it, or did you not? Feel free to comment below your thoughts, good or bad. I always like to hear what you guys think. And as always as well, I want to hear source material readers, light novel and manga readers. I know that there's a light novel was the beginning source, but I also know that there's a lot of people that read the manga. I want to know, how did you guys feel about this episode? Were there things taken out? Was it adapted really good? Anything good or bad, feel free to comment below without spoilers, obviously. I just want to remind you that no spoilers, please, for any, as an anime watcher only. I do have the light novel, but I'm waiting to read it till after. I don't want to know any spoilers. So if you guys want to talk to each other about, things that happen and you want to spoil it, put that with the read more kind of thing, where you have to click read more, spoilers below. Put it there if you really have to go ahead and put spoilers, but only if you really have to, because I'd rather just not have spoilers in the comments. So yeah, that's all I really gotta say, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed this Anime Kingdom review, and until next time, see ya.